Good morning and happy Saturday. Sorry I'm late. Had to make coffee. Okay, it's definitely haircut time. So good morning. We've been doing anchoring for a while, and we're going to finish it up today. So what about if you could anchor and change something that you want to change, but anchor your entire direction in life? That'd be a big chunk, right? Well, there's this thing called a swish pattern or a whoosh pattern, and it does just that. And so what it does is, there's something you decide that you want to change. You bite your nails, you want to stop, I don't know, anything tiny. You want to interrupt that pattern. You want to stop eating a certain food. You want to you want to stop. I don't know, playing with your hair too much, like I was just doing. But you find something that you want to get rid of. You find a pattern that you want to get rid of, or it's an anchor that you want to get rid of. But it works great for patterns. It works great for patterns like chewing your nails or doing something like that you need to change that pattern, and you're not sure how. And that's just something that's ingrained, right? I mean, a habit like that, even like smoking. I mean, are you addicted to the nicotine? Well, to an extent, yes. But a lot of it is just the social pattern, because you can break the nicotine addiction very quickly. But people a lot of times will still go back to smoking or go back to drinking or go back to chewing. And a lot of it is just the social pattern that they got into. They got into a pattern of, at this time I do this because of this. At this time I go have a cigarette because it's a social thing, because it's just, these are the patterns that you got into. And you can break all those, and a whoosh pattern is a great way to do that. So the first thing that you got to do, remember, before we do any type of change like this, you got to get leverage and you got to interrupt the pattern, right? We got to do those things first. So to get leverage, what's it going to cost you? The great way to get leverage is always to look at what's going to happen down the road. What if I don't change? Where am I going to be if I stay on this path? People who smoke intellectually know that it's incredibly bad for them, but yet they still do it. Why? Because they look at the short-term pain, not the long-term pain. They look at it and they go, well, quitting that now is going to be tough. And they don't think about what it's going to be like on their deathbed. They don't think about the death that you have when you smoke, that you actually drown in your own fluids when you die from emphysema or chronic bronchitis. They don't think about that. They think about the short-term issues. So number one, get leverage, and then number two, interrupt the pattern. So how do you do that? Well, the erasure technique that we did before is a great way to interrupt that pattern. Back and forth, scratch that record. Go back a couple of videos and you'll be able to see how to do that. That is a wonderful way to interrupt your pattern and then create space for something new. And so this whoosh pattern is a way to anchor a new approach to anything like this, whatever this habit may be. And it can be losing your temper. I mean, it can be anything. It can be any pattern that you want to break. And so what you do, and there's a physical component to this, okay? The one hand would be the hand that I'm using to hold this phone. You'd put that in front of your face, and that's holding the current picture of where you are now, okay? And then you take your other hand, and that picture is, here's the pattern that I'm doing that I want to change. So show yourself with a picture of you losing your temper, or a picture of you smoking, or a picture of you chewing your nails, or a picture of you doing whatever it is that you want to change. Procrastinating. Have a picture of you procrastinating, okay? Hold that up. And then you take your other hand, and there's a physical side to this, but you want to make it so that you have a picture of the perfect you, okay? In every way. So what you would look like, what you would be doing, what you would be wearing, the car that you would be driving, the jewelry that you would have, whatever. If you were the perfect you and you were doing everything that you wanted to be doing in your life, it would be the picture of that. It would be the picture of the perfect you, okay? So that's off in the distance. And then you've got the picture in front of you using your left hand of what it is that you want to change. And then you take your hand and you want this to be like a slingshot, that the picture of the perfect you comes bursting through. And so you take this hand and you grab it and you burst it through the other photo. And when you do this, you do it very intensely and make a sound while you're doing that. And the sound can be anything. We in the Tony community, we call it a whoosh pattern because we go whoosh like that, and that's how we do it. Now it can be anything in the world. It's just that we're adding sound because we're adding another modality, right? We want to have a visual, we want to have it be audio, and we want to have it be kinesthetic. And kinesthetic is the visual and audio together. You're going to feel that because it's the perfect you. We're just using all of the modalities because that's a better way to anchor this and anchor it. Remember, if you anchor something more intensely, then it lasts longer. I mean, if I were to ask you, if you were alive at the time, what you were doing and what was happening when 9/11 happened, you'll be able to tell me. You'll be able to tell me exactly where you are, exactly what you were doing, and exactly what happened. Why? Because that was such a dramatic event that the memory is ingrained in that record very, very deeply. And it was audio, you heard it, it was visual, you saw it, and it was kinesthetic because you very much felt it. So that's why it's so ingrained, and you can immediately tell me, this is what was going on, this is what is happening, this is what I remember. So the more emotional and the more intense you can make that response, the more the anchor is going to last, the more it's going to stay there, and the more it's going to last. So that's why we do both a visual component to it, a physical component to it, and an audio component to it, because it makes it last longer. So you put the picture up of the thing that you want to change. Then the picture of the perfect you is off in the background. It's off that way. And then you take your hand and you put yourself in a power stance, and you grab that picture and burst it through. So it's like it's on a slingshot and it's coming in, and you're going to burst it through with your hand. So you go whoosh, and you do this a series of times. Do like 20 of them super intensely, and really see it and really feel it. See the thing that you want to change, and then the perfect you. And, don't worry about doing this perfectly, okay? Your subconscious mind knows where to take you when it comes to all of this. So don't get wrapped up. Just let it happen. It's the main thing is the speed of which you're doing this. The faster that you're doing this, and the more intensely that you're doing this, the more impact that you're having on your subconscious mind. And what you're doing is you're telling your subconscious mind, do you see this? I want to go do this. That's what you're saying. Stop doing this and go do this. This is where we're going. Stop this, do this. Stop this, do this. And your subconscious mind will go, okay, that's a new program, so it accepts that program. And then you're going to find whenever you think about doing that particular pattern, you're going to start to go into another direction. And if you do this about 20 times, 3 times a day for a little while, you should see that pattern go away. Now, if all of a sudden you start to do the pattern again, okay, don't get upset. That just means that it was ingrained even that much better. Okay, so interrupt the pattern again. It's going to be weaker this time. Get more leverage. See what's going to happen down the road. What happens if I don't change? Really feel that. and then do the swish patterns. Do about 20 more. Do them 3 times a day, 20 more. It will not take long, much shorter than you think. And then all of a sudden, you're going to find you're not doing that pattern and you're now heading in this other direction. That sounds ridiculously easy. Why don't we all do this more? Well, that's a good question. But it is that easy. If you continue to do these things, these pattern interrupts, and then ingraining these new anchors. This is why surrounding yourself with a certain group of people is who you become, because that's what you're constantly anchoring, and that's the standards that you're living by. When you do these patterns, you're anchoring your subconscious mind saying, this is where I have to go. And when you do that, your subconscious mind is going to say, okay, and it's going to direct your actions in that direction. You'll actually find yourself all of a sudden going and doing things that you haven't done without effort, and you'll think to yourself, why am I doing this? How come I'm motivated? Well, you're motivated because your subconscious mind is saying, hey, look, you're saying that this is where you want to go, so wake up. Whoop. I didn't mean to do that. So wake up, you got to go do these things. So one of the things I do when I walk and when I run in the morning is I see myself breaking through, the next barriers. Whatever the next barrier is, I see myself breaking through that and going through to the next thing. Now sometimes those obstacles take a while to fall away. Remember the phrase that Ken said. Now his name eludes me, but the business guy that I talked to you about. You can't have a child quicker by getting 9 women pregnant. I mean, it still takes 9 months to have a baby. So certain things still take time. Losing weight still takes time. Building a business still takes time. And so just because you're on the track doesn't mean that the result comes immediately. Sometimes things, you can plant seeds, but you still got to go through the summer before the fall comes around and it's time to harvest. So that just because you're on the track doesn't mean that it happens immediately. But this is a great way to not only anchor where you want to go, but to help get rid of, especially, something that is an annoying habit that's been bugging you for a long time that you now want to get rid of. This is a great way to do that. As you get better at it, you can use this to get rid of anything. It's possible that this can be used to get rid of any significant event that you are struggling with. But start out small, but it's a great way to start to anchor yourself to where you want to go. Whatever it is that you're doing that you don't want to do, pull it up and then do a swish pattern, and you're telling your subconscious mind, see this? Whoosh, I want to go do this. See this? Whoosh, I want to go do this. See this? Whoosh, I want to go do this. And use the physical body. Remember, the intensity and the speed is what is most important in terms of having a dramatic impact on this. Go ahead and do these swish patterns. I know that this stuff seems weird. So was riding a bike when you first started. It wasn't easy. But, remember, the people that are significantly successful, they visualize themselves in that success before it happens. And this is a great way to do that. So it's Saturday. It's a day where typically you got some time. It's going to be beautiful. Well, it's supposed to rain, but going to be beautiful outside. Go outside and do swish patterns, and do them more than once. Do them more than one time a day. See something that you want to change and break through into that perfect you. You'll be surprised at how well this stuff works if you keep doing all this stuff. Remember, a lot of things weren't easy when you first started, so it's going to feel weird, but that's okay. Just keep doing it. Persistence. And remember, the speed and the intensity. So have a great Saturday, everybody. Have fun doing your swish patterns. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.